Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, really wanna know.
Hi guys, welcome again to a new Draw With Me video Inktober edition. This is week number 3. I can't believe it, guys. 3 weeks painting on inks. And this time I feel much better with the result. I feel connected with the inks. Even I just mess up with the paper because I think I used the wrong side of the paper again. I mean, 2 days in a row, seriously. But yeah, I think it's not looking that bad. You know, the disaster from last week, it was epic. So I think that whatever I did, it was going to look much better. So I was happy with that. So for this time, I decided to change the design. You can see it. You can go back to the first video about Inktober where I explained the prompts and everything if you want to see the first design I have in mind, but I completely changed it. You will see it on this week blog, how the process went. And I feel much better with this because the last design or the first design, it wasn't working the way it was. And also I changed the colors, and basically I just keep the vampire and the rock outfit. So it looks very, very nice. This time I think Inks and I were much, not best friends yet, but we are like acknowledged. And even I have a few things wrong, like for example here that I'm painting with this I think it's the raw transparent ink, which I didn't recommend, guys, if you want to paint solid colors. So just go for the black. And if you want a brown, just make the brown with other inks. Because, you know, the result with the first coat of ink, it's not looking that bad. And I decided that I wanted to do like a second coat. And this second coat, by the way, I think it's in black. I mean, I'm using like pure black or probably black with a little bit of water. And even right now it's not looking the best. I think, guys, in the end you will see like there's a very good difference. Also, if you pay attention, you see that I didn't paint like the liner this time. I'm just changing things and trying different things in each of the illustrations. This time I decided to go without the liner, and I think also this is a very big mistake. I think it's very useful if you can paint the liner, because with the inks, when you paint, at that time that you're applying the ink, you are losing all, you know, the reference you have below. So I think that it's necessary to do some kind of line art. Also, I just played with shadows. For example, here again, I was trying to make this looking better, so I decided to add some kind of shadows with the black. So there are parts that have 3 coats of ink. And now it's time for one of the things that it was more challenging for me. It is creating a gradient with inks. I never did that in the past, and I hope I can do more in the future and it's going to look much better. But it was a very hard task, guys. It was very difficult to think about how to do this. You know, I don't know the medium that much, so I just was following my guts here. For example, like adding some kind of a very light color on the base of the, you know, on the down part of the hairstyle, and then creating the gradient from lights to darks. So right now here I'm just adding like the mid color, that it's the orange. I think it's the same orange I did with the pants, and I'm trying to paint over everything. I think I did one thing wrong here, and is that I first made like a coat with water. So I was thinking that it was going easier to spread the inks and create the effect of the gradient. But the truth is that it ended up looking so bad, guys. Once it got dry, it was looking so bad. So At that point, I didn't know how to solve this issue because I don't have the resources. So what I did is just paint more over it to see, I don't know, if at least we can have some kind of color, because you can see it didn't have any kind of, color or anything. It lost everything. I don't know what happened. So this is me trying the second time. The second time looks a little bit better. I just leave it get dry. So I just painted other stuff, for example, the eyes. And I think I start adding the shadows also. Again, I am using the same color of the skin, but I added a little bit of blue and a little bit of magenta to make it more lilac. And I used the same color for adding some lines, for example, like expression lines. Also, I paint the lips with the same. I don't know, guys. Is this a color you could use like a lipstick? So while the air was drying, you can see it's completely looking so bad. The shapes, it didn't have any kind of shapes, it was looking pretty bad. I was just making more shadows. For the trousers, I used the same color of the beginning, but it was like the second or third coat, so that's why it looks brighter. And now it's time to start redoing again the air. So what I did is, now that it was completely dry, it was easy to apply and put more detail on the shapes of the dreadlocks. So I start working with the middle color, like the orange. So I think it work better this way. So if you plan to do some kind of gradient, I wouldn't suggest to put some water first and then do stuff, at least with the inks. I'm doing the same here with the dark color. So you see, I am just adding some shape and creating some kind of volume on the air, because at that moment it wasn't existing. And it was a stain with any kind of color or shape, so it was looking horrible. And now it starts like looking some kind of art style, Okay, right now everything is looking so bad, so please don't mind. Everything is going to look better after adding some blush. And also after adding the liner, because I think it's looking that bad because we don't have any kind of liner. And I don't know if this is something that happens to you, but for me, always there's a stage where everything is looking horrible and I say like, okay, this is going to look the worst ever. But then you start adding details. For example, now that I'm adding some kind of line art, so everything is going to look better. It's now the path to the enlightenment. So just keep going. When you are in that phase that everything is looking horrible, keep going and finish it, because once you are finished, everything is going to look better, guys. So please follow this advice. Well, I continue with the line art. As I said before, this time I decided not to ink before the lines. So what I'm doing now is with the 0.2, I guess, of this calligraphic marker pen, or whatever you're going to call it. I'm creating some kind of line art. The thing is that I wanted to play with the white of the line because I think it's more interesting in terms of, making the illustration more interesting than if you just use the same white for everything. So that's why there are places where I put in more ink and others where I just made a very thinner line, because probably there's a place or there's something that I didn't want to put more emphasis in. So that's why I leave some parts like more harder line than the others. For inking, I'm using the Sakura Micron in different sizes. This one is the 0.2, as I said before, but also I used the 0.5 for creating even more wider lines. I also have the 0.8, but I think this is too thick for the illustration. So I would suggest that you use like the thinner one, because I think it's easier to create thinner lines with the thinner, and then with the same pen, just create the wider lines. I don't know if this is making sense. For the air, I used first like a yellow brush because I didn't want to have it everything with black. So I used the yellow and then inked it with the 0.2 pencil. pencil, I don't know, guys. So I think I ended up having like, you know, it looks like an hairstyle. It was not what we have before. I ended up the illustration with some pencils, because why not? I'm enjoying playing with different, you know, mediums and things. And this is me using the 0.5 pen for these wider lines for the clothes. Again, I am trying to create lines more different with different white to make it, you know, different and interesting, because otherwise it gets super bored. I ended up with this purple that basically it didn't change anything, so you can avoid this step. And I decided that I wanted some areas in pure black, so that's why I ended up painting the sunglasses with the pen, because I really wanted to put them very dark. Also, I use browns and yellows and oranges for the air, because I really want to create more volume, you know, on the color. I was still thinking it was a little bit plain, because I didn't add any kind of shadow there, if you see it. So yeah, probably I couldn't, or I could do shadows, but I don't know why I didn't make them. Probably I forgot, I don't know. So I used the pencil, to create like different contrasts and add more colors. And I have to say, guys, I'm very proud of this hairstyle. I don't know about you, but I am. The last step of the illustration is adding some highlights or reflections. I am using the Posca white. Is the one with the thinner, you know, nip. And the harder part of this, I mean, I said before it was the hairstyle. No, the harder part was to draw this logo of the Ramones. By the way, I love the Ramones, so that's why I wanted to add it on the t-shirt. And it was very complicated, guys. Again, don't do that. So this is the end of this video. Hope you enjoy it and hope you like the final illustration. The colors are a bit different, because this is the scan version of that. But you can see here all the detail. You can see all the strokes. I think it's looking amazing, and it was not very difficult to do it better than last time. So I'm very happy of that. Thank you, guys. See you next video.